Let's introduce ourselves a bit before we get into the real hard questions about chiptunes, life, and game development.
Okay.
Hello, I'm 3x Blast. I've been introduced already a bit, but I'm a sound designer working at TT Games, and I'm also doing chiptune stuff and other music things. How about you, Donut Shoes? Who are you?
Hi, I'm Donut Shoes, and my pronouns are he, him, and I am also a sound designer and currently not a professional one, like my friend 3x Blast here. But I am a chiptune artist as well, and a composer.
And with us
today... Hi, I'm POLARIA Poyon. My pronouns are she, her. And I do a lot of chiptune stuff for video games.
Heck yeah. I'll skip over my introduction of you then. I've got this little notepad written down. I've came prepared here. And I've had a little introduction for you, talking about how cool you are and all the cool stuff you do. But you already told that, so I'm just going to skip over all of that.
Oh.
No, just kidding. Here I go. So POLARIA Poyon has been making chiptunes for a number of years now, specializing in melody-focused Sega Master System tracks. And she's quickly becoming the go-to composer for homebrew retro games such as Lane vs. the Castle of Evil, Heroes Against Demons, and Distant Memories. Welcome, POLARIA Poyon.
Oh, thank you.
That was my introduction. I think I spent a couple of hours on that.
Got to get every single word right.
Yeah. Can't make any mistakes online because this goes into the archives. But anyway, yeah, we're here for some chiptunes and for some questions about chiptunes. So, POLARIA, let me ask you a couple of things about all that music you're making. If I take a look on your SoundCloud, most of those tracks that you make are in Master System style. And I was wondering, what made you decide for that specific style of chiptune?
Well, because I just really like the Sega Master System. That's like my favorite console. And it was weird because like even though there's like a lot of software to make Master System music, there wasn't a lot of people doing it. So I was just basically filling a void.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think, yeah, I don't think I know that many people or even anyone besides you that really focuses on the Master System.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I see some kind of Master System based meme, it's either already been posted by you or I will tag you in it because Charlotte, you are probably the only person that I associate the Sega Master System with, and I'm sure a lot of other chiptune artists feel the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was curious because you've actually, if I understand correctly, you've done quite a bit of research into sound chips, retro sound chips. And I was wondering if what you've learned, I've seen you talk about this online before, but could you maybe talk about how learning about the technical side of sound chips has helped you, if it has in any way helped you with your composition, your chiptune making?
Well, I would say like a lot of what goes into my composition is based on like the limitations of like a sound chip. Like, for example, like I'm very particular about how I write harmonies because certain notes will like phase into each other very awkwardly, even if they're like a distance apart from each other, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I always write my harmonies in such a way where there's like no phasing.
Okay,
awesome.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's a cool thing about chiptune, at least on the more technical side. There's a whole kind of mismatch of what you can do, what you want to do creatively, and how you need to work with the software or the hardware to actually make that happen.
Yeah, it sucks because I feel like making like, and I'm not gonna like crap all over people who make like use FL Studio to make chiptune because all chiptune is good chiptune. But like I feel like making like hardware accurate chiptune is sort of like a lost art. There's just not a lot of people who do it or know how to do it.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a thing with modern technology in any way. Also with game development. Like if you look at how games got made back in the day, you really needed to work kind of against or with the hardware you were working on. So a lot of creativity also had to come from that. But now the technology is so advanced that it's so easy to do both music and game development that basically anyone can pick it up and start doing basically whatever they want. Where in the past you kind of have to, I don't know, wrangle the sound chips and whatever.
This was something that my sibling actually just brought up to me a couple of days ago, asking if any modern like chiptune game composers are trying to emulate, or rather, I guess games, because this would also be kind of a sound implementation challenge, I imagine too, trying to emulate the fact that with so few channels available on retro machines, how certain parts of like certain channels would have to be disabled for the music to allow for sound effects to come through. I was wondering, Charlotte, if you've ever attempted to delve into anything like that. That seems a bit more on the complex sound implementation side, but you'd be the person to ask.
I've done music for actual like Master System like homebrew games before, so it is literally that. Like when I'm composing, I have to keep in mind like, okay, whatever I want to like stand out in this particular part has to be in channel 1, because channel 2 is always reserved. Is gonna cut out for sound effects.
Wow. Now, have when you've worked on games like that, those homebrew games, are you also in charge of, say, the sound effects, designing those kinds of sounds too?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just full on audio, everything to do with the
everything to do with audio, yeah.
And then how does that get implemented? Is that, through like super, what's the word, esoteric code that we're not used to in modern days?
Well, the thing is, like, I don't really know much about how the music and sound effects gets implemented in the game, because like that's all on the development side. I just like do the music. I just send over to VGM, be like, okay, make the magic happen.
That's awesome. Honestly, we're lucky as chiptune artists that we have these tools now. Like, I mean, that's a good question. What tools would you use if you are doing sound design and music for, say, a homebrew Master System game or something else?
Well, I use Deathmask has such a bad rep, but that's honestly what I use, because the Master System like emulation is actually very good on Deathmask. I'd actually say it's better than Steven Tracker, if you know what that is.
Oh yeah,
I only know that from you. So I think with the using the different channels and having to use one channel specifically for sound effects, or having that duck for sound effects, I think that's kind of a cool way that it also is still kind of a thing in modern games, where you kind of have to program that yourself when certain sound effects are playing, that it ducks certain channels or certain mixers in modern games. But that's on a way bigger level, where an explosion channel ducks a specific ambience channel, whereas with the retro stuff, it's like any sound effects ducks an entire channel in the music.
Totally. So yeah, it's cool that you mentioned Deathmask. I'm sure that we've got a lot of people listening in that certainly know about chiptune. Maybe there's a lot of our friends in the chiptune world in the chat, I can see.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of folks listening that haven't made chiptune at all, or interested in making chiptune. And the good news is that there's a lot of great tools out there, and so much of chiptune making is like free software. And so in that respect, I'll ask Charlotte, would you recommend Deathmask as the go-to for someone to start making chiptune in? Is there a different program that you would recommend? or what's your opinion on basically all the various trackers that we use?
Well, it all depends on what sound chip you want to use, honestly, and what you intend to use it for. Because like for NES, I would definitely recommend Fan Tracker over anything else. That is definitely the best way to like emulate the sound chip for NES. But for something like Genesis, I would say Devil Mask.
Awesome.
And there's so many different programs to choose from. I think for FamiTracker, it's a tracker style for the people who don't know what it is. Don't choose to post the link. If you see it and you don't have any idea what music production or what DAW looks like, it just looks like you're hacking something because it's all numbers and letters.
It could be a little daunting at first, but luckily there are plentiful resources out on the internet, on YouTube and different places.
Oh yeah, it's so much better. It's so much better than it used to be, because I remember when I first started out, there was like literally only one Fan Tracker tutorial on the internet, and it only covered like the bare basics.
Yeah, we're definitely living in the good times now, where you can basically look up anything, and there's so many communities that also are very happy to help you if you're starting out in chiptune or any music production thing.
Oh yeah, like the chiptune scene is so much better than it used to be. I remember like I posted a module like in a Discord server that wasn't very good, and people made fun of me for it. This is like 4 years ago, but now like people are like super welcoming to like, okay, you're just starting out, I'll give you some pointers, and they're like very friendly about it.
Yeah, it's all on up and up. I think now is the best time if you ever think about starting chiptune or music production. Now is the time to get into it.
Polaria, would you mind telling us a little bit about some of the games that you've worked on, and what your inspiration was going into those games with your in your compositions and your sound design?
Well, for Lane versus the Castle of Evil, I was like trying to make I was taking a lot of influence from like Castlevania, like the early Castlevania games, like Rondo of Blood and like Castlevania 3 and stuff like that, because those are out of all the Castlevania games, those OSTs are the ones I really enjoy the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going into it, I really wanted it to sound impressive. I wanted people to play the game and be like, wow, this sounds like, how is this being played on a Master System? That's really what I strive to do when I make music for these old systems. Because a huge part of homebrew is impressing people. It's like the game version of like the demo scene, if you know what that is.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So let me ask you something about to cut in for you're doing a lot of freelance work right now. And I think I could ask you, what are some tips you have for freelancers who want to contact game devs? But I kind of want to flip it the other way around and ask you, as a freelance composer, what are some of the things that game developers can do to make your life easier?
Well, I'll say this, like, definitely get to know game devs, like get involved in game jams, because like, you won't, if you just have like 20 followers or whatever and you post like, hey, I'm opening commissions, like you're not really going to gain a lot of traction. You need to like get to know people in the industry and get involved in games. And what was your other question?
The question was, what can game developers do to make your life as a composer easier?
I would say don't make composers redo music completely redo a song unless they absolutely have to. Because like if I make a song that's like really good and that I think is really good, and I send it to a game dev and they're like, okay, I want you to completely redo this, I always get really discouraged and I never make a product that's as good, because all I can think is like, oh, I can't believe I have to completely redo this.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a good one, because I remember when I was doing freelance work, whenever game developers were like, I kind of want my music to sound like this, and a bit of this, and a bit of this, and a bit of this. It was always like, this is going to end up terribly because I'm going to get too much influence from one song and not enough from another, and then it'll throw everything off. So for me, the one thing was always like, just give me one song. Give me one song as a reference, something that you think would work perfectly in this game, and then we'll work from that on. Instead of giving me too many choices and then I make something that's accidentally a bit too wrong.
Yeah, like that's another thing. I always do a lot better when like game devs give it like send you tracks to take influence from as like, and they're all similar to each other, or they only send you like a couple tracks, not like a huge ton of them.
So I'm also seeing we're kind of coming up on the 20-minute mark. So I'm thinking, is there anything that you want to ask us or share with us in these final minutes together?
Well, I just want to say like thanks for having me, because this is a really cool thing to do. I've never really like sat down and done an interview before.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I've never done this before too, so for me it's also a very cool thing to try it with, and the best thing about trying this out is doing with a couple of good friends.
It's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. So do we all have any sort of advice for these game jammers, at least, from the audio side of things, what they should be focusing on, what maybe is maybe a tip they might have not thought of in terms of implementing or getting their audio done in a timely manner, as is necessary for a game jam. 3x Blast, you are kind of the most professional at this currently.
Yeah, I did do a couple of game jams. I think, I don't know, 7, 8, I don't know, a lot. But I think the one thing that I always liked about doing audio during game jams is just doing crazy stuff. Just going around. That's something you can't do right now because of, these trying times or whatever. But the most thing was always going around with a microphone and just asking people, hey, do you want to maybe voice a bird in our game? Or can you yell really loud in the microphone for a second? Or I take a bucket of water and just record some water sounds for something right then and there. And that was always the most fun thing. Just don't worry about getting the perfect take or getting that Hollywood-style explosion in there. Just being a little wacky and getting some fun, crazy results.
Yeah, certainly in a game jam where, your time is of the essence, just get a sound in there. One of my professors, when I went to music school, one of my professors, one of the best advice he ever gave me was, just pick a chord, stupid. And so, it's like, it's just about, just get it down. Just don't worry about the nitty gritties. Don't worry about the detail, the finer details. There's always time to polish it off later. Charlotte, any advice for our fellow game jammers here at Global Game Jam?
Well, I was just gonna say what 3x Blast said. Honestly, just don't worry about writing the perfect song because you don't have the time for it. Just get a song down.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of random notes.
Yeah,
and loop them. Do you know what? That's the best part about a bunch of random notes is that if you loop them, they're no longer random.
Aha.
Yeah, that I'm tapping my forehead with my finger like the thinking emoji guy, not the thinking meme gif.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what it is.
The big brain move.
Yeah, the big brain move. A bunch of random notes is no longer random once you loop it. So yeah, in our waning minutes, Polaria, could you please tell everybody where they can find you and your music and your ideas?
Well, I have a Twitter. It's POLARIA POYON at twitter.com. It's POLARIN and then POYON. And then I also have a SoundCloud that's under the exact same name. And I also have a Bandcamp that's also under the exact same name.
Oh, Donut Shoes already posted a link. I was just...
Oh, I'm already on it.
I want to join in too. I posted it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I believe we have some chiptune coming up. Is that where we're going next?
That is right. We have about 45 minutes of uninterrupted cool chiptune, starting with a couple of tracks from Polaria. And then after that, we'll have a pre-recorded interview with Abstract the Origin. That's also about 20 minutes. After that, we'll finish off with another 45 minutes of the best chiptune.
Awesome.
And
yeah, it's great being here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I will play us out.
Yeah.
See you later, gamers.
See ya.